Hey everybody, it is me, Delilah, looking for ooh, that's gonna be it. Hey, come on in for Black Her Story. Who's writing it? You or someone else? Um, oh, that's okay. Come on in, guys. Really, really, really excited about this content tonight. It is such powerful, powerful information on how we can move from things that plague us, like self doubt, self sabotage, and help us move into areas of self mastery. And so that's what we're after tonight. We're after self mastery, and so there are going to be some really good tidbits for you. So I highly, highly recommend that you have a notebook handy, and then we'll get into it. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm pulling up my notes because I want to make sure that I am very intentional about this information, this message. Hey, Regina, thanks for joining. I want to put this somewhere where I'm gonna. I guess, do I need to see myself? I think I do. I am on location, and so I'm a little. I'm adjusting. I'm not going to claim anything that does not belong to me, but I am adjusting. And so, as such, I got to put things in different places that I normally don't have to worry about. But I am in one of my, if not my favorite city, Chicago, Illinois. For those of you who are not familiar, that is where I was born and raised. So coming here is like coming home. Even like the camera height is like, we're gonna get through it though, because I'm excited. It's March 1st, and I was really intentional on having this conversation, booking this conversation with you. And thank you so much for investing your time with booking this conversation at the end of Black History Month, the beginning of Women's History Month, because to me it speaks to a few people. One, definitely people from my culture, Black people, people from my gender, women, and then all of our allies. It's some really powerful information again that aims to move us from areas of self sabotage and self doubt. And so, just as a reminder, as I put in the message, that this information is for people who aspire or currently operate in transformational leadership. And so, transformational leadership is transformative leadership is leadership that I believe the definition says something like takes one thing from another. I want to actually say that the proper way. So give me a second because I had it written down and I want to just go over here. Okay, here we go. Transformative transformative definition of transformative, causing a marked change in someone or something. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about equipping ourselves to cause a marked change in ourselves and cause a marked change in ourselves and those things around us: culture, family, communities, industries, businesses, and the like. And so that's what we're here to talk about. And my goal for this particular engagement is really for you at the end of the day to have a refresh insights and perspective on how to bolster, how to improve that transformative leadership, that leadership that has a marked change in you and through you. Oh my gosh, so good. I'm so excited about all of this. And so I also mentioned that I'm anchoring this discussion in a famous quote. The quote says, "Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. And watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny." And so it's all hinging on how your thoughts, if you followed me, the very first part of the quote said, "Watch your thoughts because they become words." And so your thoughts ultimately become your destiny. And so we're going to talk about that. Hey, Monica, thanks for joining. And so we're going to get into that and talk about that. But I first want to start it from, and as I was thinking about this just a couple hours ago, this has been hot on my mind because I'm so excited to share it with you. I believe, and I know it's life changing information for those who come in with the intent of bolstering, right, their transformative leadership. But as I was thinking about this a couple hours ago, I was thinking about it through the lens of COVID, right? This COVID last couple years has been quite the thing, right? And so gave me the line that disruption causes doubt. Disruption causes doubt or can cause doubt. That's actually what I said. Because to me, nothing like disruption is so um, absolute that it gets to dictate my life. But anyway, disruption can cause doubt. And so when I thought about it from COVID, um, it was interesting, right? So COVID, we were impacted, or coming out of COVID, we were impacted by COVID in 2019, going into 20. It caused a great disruption. It caused doubt on how safe we could be, how we would operate, what things would look like. But we went into this, what we're calling a new normal, right? And so this new normal. And so people taught us how to handle COVID, how to handle the disruption that COVID caused, right? So we were invited to wear masks. We were invited to be vaccinated. We were invited to wash our hands and social distance with physical distance. And all of these things on how to actually manage the disruption, how to manage the disruption. But what I want to invite you to think about is how many disruptions have you experienced or do you know about? And then we're going to talk about if someone actually instructed you on how to manage the disruption. One disruption that came up for me when I thought about coming to share this information from a lens of Black history and women's history, of course, is in the Black culture or in the culture of African descendants, the disruption of slavery. Slavery was extremely disruptive, right? There were a whole people group that were living and thriving in different areas of the world, lives disrupted, brought over to another country, and lives were disrupted. At some point, not long ago, right, 200, a little bit over 200 years ago, Emancipation Proclamation came around, and slaves were freed, right? Decades ago, 50, 60 years ago, finally civil rights. After this disruption was caused, who came along to instruct us on how to manage the disruption, right? How do you move from all of that occurring and not having instruction, right, on how to manage that disruption? Or liken it for yourself. Just think about it. Have you ever had a disruption? Maybe a disruption when we're framing it as far as her story, her story, who's writing it, you or someone else. When we think about, have there been times in your life where you have been disrupted? Maybe disrupted by rejection. You were thinking one way about yourself, and some level of disruption caused you to think about yourself another way. Maybe it was messages from a teacher. Maybe it wasn't enough care at home. Something had you living one way as a child, young adult, or whatever. Disruption occurred, and you no longer thought that way about yourself. You no longer were carefree, or you no longer had the confidence that you once had. Excuse me. And so disruption, excuse me, how disruption can cause the doubt. And I want us to really kind of think about that, because there's been those pivotal times in our lives that started to sow doubt or information that really didn't serve us. Fear, you may have had something happen and you became fearful, and you like, maybe you, let's say, for instance, you were a kid in a spelling bee and you went forward and you spelled the word incorrectly. That disruption of that occurrence may have planted seeds of you shouldn't be up front, you shouldn't take a chance. If you take a chance, people may laugh. If you take a chance, you won't get a fight. Things like that. We've had these disruptions in our life that cause us, that act as a frame of reference, that would want us to be doubtful or even fearful. I'm going somewhere with this, so hang on. And so there's been disruption, and there's not often, unlike COVID, there's not often someone comes around and says, "Hey, this is how you handle that disruption that occurred." Right? We just try to pull it all together, especially my black people, my women, and I look at me. I speak from from an experience of a black woman. I'm sure other people have experienced. People are experiencing disruption today. Um, so yeah, I shouldn't say especially, but what I know is Black women, Black people have experienced disruption. And so I want to go back to the quote that we started that said our destiny was impacted, and it is driven by our thoughts. And also here is that sometimes our thoughts are rooted in those disruptions or the outcome of those disruptions, because nobody's gone back in and said, "Oh, I need to reprogram that because that no longer serves me. It was just a bad incident, not necessarily a behavior or lifestyle that I should take on." Follow me. Um, so your destiny and your transformative leadership starts with your thoughts. And I realize this is what I realize that those thoughts are based on your belief. What do you believe is going to happen? What are your values, right? If you've ever done a values exercise, if not, you really need to talk to me because that's part of my coaching program. But what are your values? What are your morals? What are your core beliefs? Because I know I believe there are several things about myself that I'll believe, but we'll get into that. I want to go here about what you're believing. And so I affirm this question to you. I'm just reading it. What do you believe? Do you believe, let's start here. Do you believe that you are destined for greatness? Do you believe you're destined for greatness? And those of you who are here, you can put it in the comments. Those of you taking the notes, maybe you're writing it down. I believe I'm destined for greatness. I kind of believe I'm destined for greatness. Rumor has it I'm destined for greatness. Whatever you're feeling from that question, do you believe that you're destined for greatness? Right? And so, do you believe destined for greatness? But here's what I believe, and I encourage you to believe it as well. The world is in service to you. The things that happen in the world are in service to you. The world, and a lot of worldviews would have you believe that people out to get you, whatever the case may be. The world is actually in service to you, and all things work out for your good. I wrote here that I am destined to be great and powerful. I am destined to be great and powerful, and I am destined to do great and powerful stuff. And so, if that is my belief, and my thoughts are anchored in my belief, when something comes up to tell me, "Oh, Delilah, you should doubt yourself. Maybe you can't do this," or Delilah, you should be afraid. I can go back to my core belief, and I can think on the fact of, but I'm destined to do great and powerful stuff, and the world is of service to me. Oh, so I should just step on out because this other thing that I'm hearing is not a part of my true belief. And song, guys. There we go. And our actions becoming behaviors, um, then in our behaviors becoming character, and our character becoming our destiny, then our thoughts matter. And what are they anchored in? What are you believing about yourself? How are you going to uproot this self-doubt? And then self-sabotage is just basically behaviors and thoughts that come against you to stop you from doing something. Let's keep on. Um, sometimes I said here, sometimes we believe things or our thoughts are centered on things that can't serve us. Here's a few of those things. And this, let me know if this resonates with you guys. We have thoughts that we are not or cannot, and we make decisions from that place. That's pretty much the example I just shared with you. I may think I can't, and so then I don't because I have this thought in my head that I can't, or I'm afraid to try and fail, or we're people pleasing, right? Because somewhere along the line in the disruption, we learned, oh, okay, then I'm going to do this because this is what they're looking for. I'm going to do this because this gets me recognition. I'm going to do this, whatever that disruption that happened to be, that outcome, you may still be performing in a way that is rooted in that the thought of that disruption, what that disruption did for you. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good. Or we have thoughts that we don't want help from others because of perceived weakness. And so I'm really after something when I say that, because that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. When I first started thinking about this, I had this analogy I was going to share with you guys about the salad fork. Like if I were at a fancy dinner for the first time, and when I say fancy, I mean formal. When I say formal, based on the definition of formal, that's a whole nother. We get all into all that later. But if I were at a formal dinner and someone slid me the salad fork and was like, "You want to use that for your salad?" Um, here is a couple ways that people can potentially react to that, right? Someone gives you some information on the download to help you, right? We could be like, "Oh, great, thank you so much for helping me." Or I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this. People are looking at you sideways, like, "I don't need your help." We got an attitude because somebody is trying to help us, and when you think about that, why? Right? Or we're sitting somewhere struggling with something because we don't want to ask someone for help. Why? Because somewhere in the disruption, somewhere in life, there was a disruption. And after that disruption came information that says, if you ask for help, then this. And so now you don't even ask for help when you need help, when the information that you need is actually going to help you become the leader you're trying to be. Stay with me. And so the whole thing here is about her story. Who's writing your story? Black her story. Who is writing your story? Is it some false beliefs from yesteryear? Is it the experience of someone else that you actually never had, but they shared their fears and their doubt with you? So now that's what you're thinking on and you're making decisions from. Is it the worldview that be in a panic, or Black women can't do this, or we are always struck, or whatever? Like, from where are you making your decisions? From what thoughts are you making your words? Are you making your actions? Are you making your behaviors? Are you making your character? Are you making your destiny? From what thoughts are you making your destiny? And as I said earlier, encouraging you and inviting you that your thoughts are anchored into your beliefs. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about yourself? We got a little bit more. We're gonna go a little bit more. And so I wrote here that these thoughts, the ones we accept, become a catalyst for our actions. So the decision you have to do something, say something, create something, starts or delays based on what you think about you. And so in the last year, I have been able to partner with different people in my coaching program, helping them to launch or solidify businesses, careers, nonprofits, ministries, you name it, because they began to think and see and believe, oh, it's me. Oh yeah, the change you're looking for is actually you. And so what you think, if they would thought the opposite, that it's not me or maybe I can't, it would have delayed their progress in being able to do so. So what you believe will either support or delay what you really want to do. And here's what I have to say about that. I say, I want to settle this. I want you to know a couple things. No matter what you believe, here's what I know about you. Some of you guys, we've never even met in person. Some of you we've recently met and I don't know a lot about. But here's two things that I can tell you. You're capable and you're able. You're capable and you're able. And so when you go to do that great thing, even if it's tomorrow, and if it's basically just merely even speaking to someone and you're hesitant, remember, right? You're going to go to your thoughts, and your thoughts are going to become your words, and your words are going to become your actions. And I'm planting this right now in you to say, you're capable, and you're able. When you go to do that thing that you typically don't do, you've been a little hesitant or afraid to do because you might get embarrassed because it might not work. It's okay because you're capable and you're able. I just said that you need maybe a little bit of capacity. And capacity is something that you gain by removing things. You can remove things like, say, for instance, this cup of coffee. I can pour out half of this cup of coffee, and guess what? I now have space in this cup of coffee for something else. Capacity can be you removing something, right? Maybe it's bad or thinking that no longer serves you. Maybe it's old behaviors that no longer serve. You can remove those and then have capacity to do things. Capacity can also be a stretching. I know neuroscientists talk about neuro, neuroplasticity, the stretching of neurology. Basically, how your mind has the ability to stretch, and so you have additional capacity, and you can create capacity. So you're capable, you're able, and you're creating capacity. I want to also say, the quote, it said, your thoughts become your words become your actions, actions become habits, habits become character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. We're talking about your destiny. I want to keep bringing that back to you. That we're not just talking about, oh, just think different. No, we're talking about think different because you're going to take hold of your destiny and charge your destiny. I actually add that I believe our behaviors, where it talks about our habits, our behaviors combined with our character also create our brand, and that our brand can help open and close doors of opportunity, having impact on our destiny. Again, all starting with what we think. So that's saying taking part of that quote and then aligning it to a brand and having that brand. If that brand is now confidence, that brand is now um, you getting things done and delivering results. Those things start to open up doors. Why? Because you've stepped out on a thought of you were capable and you were able. I got a couple more things to share, and then we're gonna go ahead and conclude. You guys know you're always welcome to ask questions. Ask questions here. I'm seeing all my not all, but I'm seeing my LinkedIn here, folks here. But I know I'm also on YouTube as well as Facebook. So I'm gonna just pull up one thing really quickly to get ready for any questions that may be there. I'm going to actually share with you guys here momentarily one of my signature exercises. I use it, mindset exercises. I use it in my coaching program, and yeah, here we go. I use it in my coaching program, but I want to share it with you guys because as we're talking about what you're thinking, because what you're thinking ultimately directs your destiny, I want to really hone in on that, right? All the stuff in the middle between thinking and destiny starts with thinking. And so that's where we're going to start. And so one of my signature mindset exercises is called the what, why, what. The what, why, what mindset exercise. And I just wrote a note here, right, that my mindset exercise invites you to a higher level of thinking, thus a higher level of controlling your destiny. Again, all about controlling destinies. And I want to make sure we're clear that people who follow me or people who engage with me, you guys are leaders because I understand my purpose. I understand my assignment, and that is to strengthen and create leaders of leaders. And so nestle in to the fact that you've been called for great and great things. I'm so excited about everything you've been called for. And so in order to shift this mindset, in order to higher level thinking, we have to be intentional about our thinking. One of the books I read some time ago, there was a neuropsychologist, uh, neuropsychologist. I believe she was I think that's her proper title. She shared that we basically have one thought every 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds we have a different thought. And so I ask you, how many of those thoughts are you actively tracking? I think I actually wrote that down somewhere. How many of those thoughts are you actually tracking? If you're having a thought every 10 seconds, how many of those are you checking to say, oh, yeah, that aligns with what I believe? Yep, that's what I want to actually put forth to serve me. Yep, that's what I want to move forward. Most of us are just letting are just thoughts come to and fro. And so here's the exercise. Here's the what, why, what exercise. And I'm going to ask that you guys do this for about 21 days because 21 days is the time it takes to really change behaviors. We're not going to go into a full thing, but just to give you a concept of how you can begin to be intentional on what you're thinking so you can become more intentional about what you're saying, so you can become more intentional about what you're doing, so you can become more intentional about your behaviors, your character, your destiny. And so, four times throughout a day. You can pick the times, maybe once early morning, late morning, afternoon, and evening, but 4 times a day. And I said, just focus on a week for now. Although I said 21 days, because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. For a week, 4 times a day. Get your pen and paper. So let me pause. Get you a pen and paper, your phone, whatever your note-taking instrument that you're using right now, and write down 4 times a day that you can do a 3-minute exercise. Just write it down. Because nothing really is going to happen if you don't have intention on it getting done. So just write it down. It may be 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, right? But just 4 times a day. You're having a thought every 10 seconds. You're having a thought every 10 seconds. I'm just saying 4 times a day. You do quickly the math on 10 seconds, right? 10 seconds in a minute. That's at least six thoughts in a minute times 300. Like, you do all the math on how many thoughts you're having, and I'm just saying do it 4 times. So 4 times a day. 4 times a day, and this is what I want you to be thinking about 4 times a day. At the pre-scheduled time, ask yourself these 3 questions and answer them yourself. 1, what am I thinking? Just do it. At that time, just pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking? Because again, if we're having a thought every 10 seconds, there is a whole bunch of thoughts coming past us that we have no idea that we're having. We're just thinking. And we're choosing. And we're choosing based on all information. I think, this may be a whole series, or it may turn into a workshop at some point, because I can't even tell you how many notes I took out of this just to be able to come live for hopefully 30 to 35 minutes. There's so many things that I can share here on. This isn't serving you. Do this differently. Think about this differently. And it all is about building confidence. I will say this. Sometimes we want clarity. And it's not, you really need courage to build confidence, because not very many things I've done in life, I understood that I had a whole plan from A to Z before I stepped out. It took courage. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. So anyway, going back to the what, why, what exercise, what, why, what signature, trademark, Delilah's downloads, mindset exercise. I'm going to say all of that out loud. What are you thinking? So you're asking yourself, what are you thinking? Secondly, ask yourself, why are you thinking that? Why are you thinking that? You may find, oh, I'm thinking that because I don't trust something. Well, why don't you trust it? Because I learned not to trust it. Why'd you learn to trust it, right? I mean, you may have heard of the 5 whys. This is somewhere where you can apply the 5 whys, but apply it to what are you thinking and why are you thinking it? And then the last what, it's the what, why, what, the what, why, what mindset exercise. What should you be thinking? What are you thinking? Why are you thinking that? And what should you be thinking? And so if you're thinking something, if you're thinking something that doesn't serve you well, right? Why are you thinking it? Maybe you're operating out of doubt, fear, whatever the case may be. What should you be thinking? You should be thinking that you're capable and able. And then as you're thinking, what you should be thinking, maybe not maybe, actually write down. I was about to try to get you guys out of doing the work, and I shouldn't do that. Write down like what you should be thinking. And the goal there is that would turn into a declaration, right? And the declaration, you should start to see themes like I should be thinking that I'm capable. I should be thinking that I'm able to do. I should be thinking that I'm smart enough. I should be thinking that it is me. I should be thinking I was built for this. I should be thinking that I'm qualified. I should be thinking that they should call me. I should be thinking that I do stand out. I should be thinking that it is okay. I should be thinking that I'm called for this. Whatever it is you'll probably start to see a theme of what you should be doing, what you should be thinking. And then I would encourage you to start writing declarations of that down. Like, I am capable. I am smart enough. I am qualified. I'm a powerhouse, or whatever it is that you're thinking. And start to just journal those declarations and start to speak those declarations, right? 21 days. Just speaking positively, and speaking positively over your life is doing basically what we started the conversation with about COVID. It is training you, it is teaching you how to handle the disruption, right? It is taking those things that disrupt, that is taking the results of the disruption, right? There was a disruption. No one came and told you how to handle it. You're going back now to kind of undo those thoughts and retrain yourself on how to handle that disruption, because you're no longer going to operate like you've been disrupted, right? You're going to take hold of your thoughts. You're going to take hold of your destiny by taking a hold of your thoughts. How? By being intentional on what you're thinking. How are you going to do that? By using Delilah's signature what, why, what mindset exercise. What are you thinking? Why are you thinking that? And what should you be thinking? Declaration, right? Declaration. Because at the end of the day, again, my goal for this conversation is really to give a refreshing insight into some things that may have been blockers for you, and not only identify them, but give you a tool on how to then start to transform your destiny by transforming your thoughts, by transforming your words, transforming your actions, transforming your behavior, your character, and as a result, your destiny. Um, just looking back at my notes, yeah, the idea here is to intentionally drive your thoughts to actions, behavior, and character that support your destiny. Um, and then the ending really is the quote. And I just said that again. So, some really good content on Black Her Story. Who is writing it? Who is writing her story? If you're having a thought every 10 seconds and you're making your destiny crafting decisions from those thoughts, who is writing that? Are those your thoughts, or those things that you experienced some other time? Are those somebody else's thoughts that have been put in your head about what you can and cannot do? What are these thoughts? What are these thoughts? And get rid of them if you don't need them. Get rid of them if you don't need them. And I know, I got some good friends, in all kind of industries and ministries, honestly. And and one of my friends is good for saying, I'm just not like you. My personality is not like that. Part of this is personality, right? But the reason that I can teach this is because I also understand the mindset it takes to shift your thoughts in a way that makes them more productive toward your goal and your purpose, right? Even if some of it is just pre-programming Delilah. Some of it is that, but some of it is discipline on what I choose to. As I'm walking down the street sometime, I just say to myself, oh, I'm not thinking that. No. Surely when I walk on the road, I'd be like, well, everybody's going to look at you. Well, surely they should. Sure, they should look at me. I'm something to be marveled. Yeah. So it's an intent. It's an intent, and over time, as I've been focused on my thoughts, as I've been intent about what I would accept as a thought and what I wouldn't accept is about the courage, boldness, tenacity, and everything that comes before you and alive. All of that has been crafted. It'll continue to be crafted. So as I continue to go on global stages where I belong, it'll be no big deal because I understand that I belong there. And why? Because I've had these conversations with myself in small hotel rooms or medium sized, not small, medium sized hotel rooms with all of my pals here on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. This is well within your reach. Shifting, elevating thoughts. And some of you guys already have. So my hope for you ladies, gentlemen, whoever's here having this experience with me, is that if you're already at that level, this should just help sharpen it. So don't think that, oh, I already got this now. No, you can use this word. What, why, what? Why, what mindset exercise? Any questions? I'm excited to hear from you guys on Black Her Story. You're writing your story based on your thoughts, not some old recycled mess that does not serve you. Questions? I pulled Facebook up over here, so I'm looking at my phone. Facebook and LinkedIn, YouTube. You guys feel free to leave comments there live, and then I'll come and answer them in the little comment section of the YouTube. No? All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to hear about. Please share with me. Hear about like some of the. Hey, this thought came up, well, and I asked myself, why was I thinking that? And then it turns out I was thinking it because of this. And then I asked myself, what should I be thinking? And I decided that this is what I was going to think instead of that. I substituted that thought for this thought, you know, um, and just being intentional. And I started to write this declaration. I said that declaration for about a week. And the next thing you know, I was walking with my shoulders a little back, my chest a little out, feeling a little bit more confident. I really want to hear about it. I really want to hear about it. This is part of the, again, one of my coaching programs that I have seen people go out and build confidence in. Oh, I can do it. Oh yeah, you can. I know you can. Like I told you guys, some of you I don't even know. Some of you I've just met recently. Two things I know about you are that you're capable and you're able. I'm assured of it. I'm assured of it. But thank you so much for joining. We're about almost at 40 minutes. This has been one of the longer ones. And if I could show you these notes, you'd see like all this other stuff that I actually snatched out and has, we can't talk about all that. We just need a core message, right? Disruption. How did we start it off? Actually, that came to me, like I said, just a couple hours ago. So it was disruption can cause doubt. Disruption can cause doubt. And we're looking to get rid of doubt and self sabotage and create self mastery and self regulation. You regulate what you're thinking and what you're doing. All right, I'm gonna keep going. But thank you guys so much for joining. Delilah's Downloads, always saying what needs to be said. I am here to amplify the impact, the income, and the influence of leaders and aspiring leaders. I do that through encouragement, empowerment, and equipping lives and coach and other vehicles as well. I was at one point hosting an annual women's conference. I don't know, 2022 may be the year to bring that back, but we'll see. But thank you guys so much for joining. It has been a blast. Happy Take care. Oh, I love the comments. I love that. Capable and able. Hey, when you create it, Regina, don't forget about me. I love to have one. I love to have one. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.